Hi, and welcome everybody to the Winner's Circle Sports Betting Channel. It's Winner's Circle Live right here at 1 p.m. Eastern Time on Friday, March the 1st. Let the madness begin. And like every live show, I am joined by my gamblersworld.net partners, Mr. Jesse Schule, Mr. Sean Higgs, and I'm Ross Benjamin. Like I said, all three of us of our sponsor site, gamblersworld.net. Well, we got a lot of good things going on in March, folks. So you want to go to gamblersworld.net and check them all out. Let me go over a couple things really quickly. We have an exclusive $249 March Madness package, which is $50 off the normal pricing. It includes picks up until the college basketball championship game in the NCAA tournament, also the NIT tournament, CBI, the rest of the regular season, all conference tournament play, all for just $249. Can't beat that anywhere. Go to gamblersworld.net and you'll see all the details. Also, we'll be having a contest going, and we'll have a March Madness bracket challenge going at gamblersworld.net. So stay tuned for that. We'll be discussing that next week and tell you how you could enter to win. Also, if you go to our it's called, it's not Twitter, it's X, right, guys? It's X now.
I still call it Twitter, Ross.
It's always Twitter.
All right. Yeah, it's Twitter. If you go to our Twitter page, Gamblers World Twitter page, you will see a lot of our postings with our videos and such. And if you like any of our videos, or if you comment on any of our videos, we will put you in a drawing that will get you a March Madness package for one of the handicappers at the site. And we'll be doing that next Friday on the live show. We'll be picking the winner there, and one of you is going to end up with a March Madness package from one of the 10 great handicappers, including us three at this site. All right, we got a lot to get to. We want to get to your questions and comments, but first we need to discuss some college basketball action, and we got some good ones today. I'm going to be looking at Tennessee and Alabama. All three nationally televised game. That Tennessee-Alabama game will go at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on ESPN. Jesse's going to be looking at Kansas and Baylor, 1 p.m. Eastern Time on ABC. And Sean will be looking at Marquette and Creighton, 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time on Fox. Before we get to those selections, Jesse, tell the folks a little bit about, I see you're red hot 10-2 over the last week, my friend. And number one the last 30 days, number one the last 60 days. Jesse Schule's on fire. Tell the folks, on top of everything I just said, why they should buy from you over at gamblersworld.net.
Well, Ross, it was a good January. It's been an even better February. But the month of March is where we really make our money. I've always said that. I've always said I was excited about the calendar turning to March. So, let's make some money here this month. I feel pretty good about things.
All right. So, Jesse Schule, I gave you all the stats, folks. The guy's a winner. He's not only a winner, he's a consistent winner. A lot of guys are streaky, but this guy just continues to have less ebbs and flows than anybody else in the industry. And you can look at his record over the last 10 years, and those numbers will bear that out. Speaking of a great handicapper, Mr. Sean Higgs, who one of the hardest working guys in all the sports betting industry. And I say that not jokingly. I say that confidently because I know how hard the guy works. I know how hard all of us works. But Sean puts in a lot of time on these podcasts and a lot of research and such. Sean, how are you, man?
Well, winner yesterday with Lau. I got a 3-pack up, and I am streaky. I am not like Jesse. I am a streaky guy because I throw a lot of chum in the water at this time of year, whether it's college basketball or baseball, even NFL football. I'm more of a streaky kind of guy, and that's why I preach the money management and grinding out daily. You know, we're all different the way we attack things. I'm definitely different than you two fellas when it comes to firing away. But I've been a little more selective with college basketball of late. It's paid off. A couple winners this week. So again, it's March Madness tournaments on Monday. I'm excited. I got 3 winners up today on the Gamblers World page. So go get it.
Yeah, Sean is a volume handicapper. So if you're somebody who likes a lot of action, he's your guy. And he brings up money management, and it's imperative when you're dealing with a volume handicapper like Sean. You are disciplined, and you have a money management strict money management in place. And if you need help in that regard, just ask. And this is your opportunity to ask those types of questions, or write to us at the Gamblers World support email right at the site, gamblersworld.net support email. And one of us will give you a, what we like to do in terms of money management. And I could tell you for a fact, all three of us are very strict and very disciplined when it comes to that. Speaking of streaks, college basketball totals, another winner last night with UTEP and Jacksonville State over 134.5. And that Tom Thibodeau, some character that's been commenting on his site, it's not a tout if you can back up what you're claiming, my friend. Okay. Touts are guys like Stu Feiner, who tells you they're 191 and 26 with no viable way to check the information. Not to pick on Stu, because I actually like him personally. But anyway, I won that game last night. College basketball totals now won my last 6, 79 and 42 with my last 121. That's good for 65%. College basketball top plays 119 and 89, 57%. NBA top plays on a 40 and 21 run, and that is good for 66%. My top plays, I deem them to be any pick that's 4 units or greater, okay, at the site. In any event, let's get right to our games. Tennessee and Alabama is mine, but we're going to start with Jesse. Kansas and Baylor. Game will be played in Waco, Texas. Baylor -5, the total 147. Jesse, Baylor is one of those teams that could be sneaky good, and I'm not so sure. A lot of people are down on Kansas right now, and rightfully so. It's not the caliber of Kansas team in terms of consistency that we've seen in recent years.
Yeah, Ross, I mean, I think we all agreed on the show the other day when we were talking about Kansas and BYU that when they announced that their leading scorer, Kevin McCullough Jr., was going to be possibly out for the rest of the season, but certainly out in the short term, that, a team like Kansas, a true blue blood, will have somebody to be able to come in and fill those shoes. And this is a team that at home, they'll be all right. Well, they end up getting blown out really at home by BYU. They lose 76-68. And, I'm not going to say we were wrong, but maybe Kansas is in a little rougher shape than we even thought they were. And they haven't been good on the road all year. Let's face it. They've lost 3 of their last 4 road games. What are they, 3-5 on the road this year? The teams they lost to: Texas Tech, Kansas State, Iowa State. Baylor, that home loss to Houston was a painful one. I was on Baylor in that game, and they got blown out in the first half. They rallied back. They had a chance to win it with a free throw. They missed the free throw. Then they almost give up a buzzer beater to lose. They lose in overtime. But let's face it, Kansas right now, without their leading scorer, they're not the number 1 ranked Houston Cougars coming to town. They're limping into to Baylor here, and I -5 looks kind of heavy against a Kansas team that's usually the best in the Big 12. But I don't know how you don't go with Baylor here. What are they, 13-2 at home? And like I say, that loss to Houston, I think we can forgive them for that.
Yeah.
And even if they lost in overtime, if they play that game against Kansas, they probably have a better result. So I will take Baylor here.
Yeah, that Houston game, they missed a front end of a one-on-one with 4 seconds to go in regulation time. So they could have walked away with a win very easily there. They played Houston ultra tough. Sean, Kansas, I've picked my spots in fading them this year and done quite well in that regard. But Baylor's one of those teams, and I think both of you gentlemen can comment on this if you want. But I'll start with you, Sean. Kansas is one of those teams, or Baylor, is one of those teams I can't seem to be on the right side of this year. So when that happens, I sort of ignore their games just because I feel like I don't have a good handle on them. When I go with them, I was with them last week against Houston. Should have won the game, should have covered the game, I should say, losing overtime. But I failed on being against them or with them on several occasions this year. Do you have teams like that, Sean, once in a while when that happens I don't know what your theory is or Jesse's theory is, but when it happens with me, I sort of steer clear for a little while of that team.
Oh, absolutely. Whether it's no matter what sport it is, you're going to find a team you just can't get a handle on. You're on them, they lose, and the one day you fade them, they come out and they play their best game of the month. So it happens. I'm with you on that. I understand the feeling on that one, especially in a situation like this where you want to fade Kansas because they've lost Big 12 road games. And I had Kansas the other day, -6, and they were up at the half and they got up by 10. You're thinking, all right, they're going to pull away here second half. And then BYU just kept shooting threes and they're dropping. And that is a great equalizer in today's college basketball, man. These guys, a team gets hot, watch out. I mean, you see it. We've seen like Creighton just shoot the lights out against UConn the other day. I mean, you see teams just come in and get red hot from three, and it's lights out for a team that had a 10-point lead at home with what they have 16 losses under Bill Self at home in a decade. I mean, it's not a team that loses at home, loses once a year. But I'm with Jesse on Baylor here. It looks a little heavy, but Kansas has got him last couple of days. I think Baylor is a dark horse Final Four kind of squad. They're home. Yeah. Kansas on the road. They lost, 3-4 road games here on the road already? I know in this case they're a dog. It's a different spot. They're not like they're a 2 or 3 point favorite, but give me some Baylor. I'll ride Jesse here. I like them as well. Bears to get it done.
Yeah, the one game they covered on the road as an underdog against Iowa State. I remember that because I had Iowa State. Kansas hits a 3 at the buzzer to get inside the number, not win the game. But Jesse, going back to what I just discussed with Sean, and he just touched upon more, is those teams that you just can't seem to be on the right side of, whether you fade them or ride them. You fail on 3 or 4 occasions and you say, you know what, I don't have a handle on this team. I'm going to back off for a while when it comes to their games.
Certainly, Ross, I can think of a few teams that would fit that description. I call them Jekyll and Hyde teams. They look so bad one day and so good the next day, and it gives you a bad taste in the mouth that you don't want to be betting on the sides. But that's what betting on totals is for, Ross. When you got a team like that, you can always look to the totals. Actually, when you guys were talking about that, it made me think there's a whole conference that gives me a bad taste in my mouth, and that's the AA MAC. I don't know what's going on there. Quinnipiac's lost like 4 in a row, and I thought they were supposed to be good. I don't know what's going on in the AA MAC. That conference gives me a bad taste in my mouth.
As I recall, we were giving Quinnipiac all kinds of accolades, namely me to start with, and then you guys chimed in. They've gone 0-4 straight up in ATS since. So, yeah.
Just look at every one of those games tonight. All the lines, 1.5, 2, 1, 2.5, like all crazy short little lines.
Yeah, and it seems to be a conference where home court advantage just isn't a real thing. And that makes it pretty difficult for me and makes me want to stay away.
Yeah.
Yeah, good game I'm on tonight. Dayton and Loyola Chicago, 9 p.m. Eastern time on ESPN2. That game's up for sale right now at gamblersworld.net. If you want to purchase it, and you'll get our guarantee that if you don't win, and this applies to all single game and multi-game daily packages and subscription plans of 30 days or fewer from all handicappers over at gamblersworld.net, we will credit back your account the exact amount that you spent on that specific purchase. So keep that in mind as well. And, before I get to Sean's game, I just want to touch upon this, folks. We are recording early Friday afternoon Eastern time. The official lines at all the major U.S. sports books have not come out yet. We're basing our lines here on the KenPom line. And like Jesse was talking about before we went on air, last week we had the Alabama game at 174. That actually opened at 171. So again, KenPom is in the ballpark for the most part. And for just keep in mind, these lines may change depending on when you view this video and how accurate the KenPom line is, which a lot of times it's right there. Okay. But in any event, Sean is going to take a look at Marquette and Creighton, a really intriguing matchup. Last time Marquette was on the road, they got crushed at UConn. They bounced back nicely in their last game with a solid effort. And Creighton, they're a 4-point favorite, and the total here is 150. Creighton, another team that put together a really good performance against UConn in a win over UConn on their home floor. So what do you got here? Right now, Ken Pom is indicating that Marquette, again, is a 4-point favorite here, and the total is 150, Sean. Or Creighton is a 4-point favorite. I'm sorry.
Okay, so we talk about the Ken Pom real fast. I believe you said open at 171. He had it at 174. I think it closed at a 177. So he was actually closer to the number. Didn't make a difference. It went to 200 something, but yeah. I mean, it's again, folks. We are ahead of time, and again, it is what it is. It is what it is with these lines. So don't come in and bash us because we get a lot like, oh, the line is totally wrong. Well, sorry, folks. Sorry. I'm leaning towards the dog here. I'm going to take a little Marquette. And normally, I like Creighton. I think they're a really good team. We saw them play an A game and crush UConn, and then they, in a flat spot, get beat up by St. John's. Then they rebound after that and take care of business like they're supposed to. You got Marquette's won 11-12, although one of their top scorers is out. He's questionable, I should say. But I don't think it matters here. You look at the history of these teams, all close games, the last 3 or 4 games. I'm going to take the points. Marquette as a dog is something I want to play. They winning record on the road. I like Shock as a dog, and he's kind of grown on me. I thought he'd be better in Texas, better recruits. It didn't work out. Here he is in Big East school, but it's not the best Big East school. But he's done a tremendous job here. And as a dog, forget about it. I mean, this is, again, a team that's going to win 25-something games under the radar. Nobody talks about it. And it's like, wow, here they are in the top 5 again. They play defense. They could shoot. I'm taking a point. It's going to be a close one. This will be a 2 or 3 point game. I'm hoping to be on the right side here. Let's go doggy. You said it's a 4.5 now?
Yeah.
5. Okay.
4.
All right.
Yeah. So you're going with Marquette plus.
I'm gonna take
4.
Marquette here. Yeah. I thought it was. Yeah. I thought I saw a 5. All right.
I don't know what the stat. What's the white kid guard for Marquette that's really good? What is it?
I thought you were talking about Krakenbrunner or whatever.
No.
Tall guy for Creighton.
He's averaging over 20 a game. Tremendous player. And he suffered an oblique injury that forced him to miss the last pretty much all of the second half in the previous game.
He was the player of the year last year. He's out.
Yeah, he's just a tremendous player, and he's just
really
yes. Anyway, that shows you how much I pay attention to names. It's about
I just pulled
numbers.
It up.
Yeah,
says who he was.
Yeah, we're about beating numbers, folks. So before you start criticizing us, this isn't, the Paul Feinbaum show where everybody knows names and statistics. We're about beating a number. But in any event, your take on this matchup, Jesse, it's a really good one.
Well, in a way, I see where Sean's going with this. The cream rises to the top at this time of year. Only a couple games left. I do believe that Marquette is the better team, and I see they're getting points and history of close games, but I'm going to have to disagree because of the situational angle. Marquette's next game is that revenge game, and it will be their final home game against UConn. Appears to be a look-ahead spot to me. And then you got Creighton. Tonight's their final home game, senior night for Creighton. They should be all fired up for this one. That combined with a look-ahead spot for and I didn't even know about the injury for Marquette because this wasn't my assigned game. So, forgive me. But anyways, with the look-ahead spot, I do think they're going to be really looking towards that rematch against UConn after just getting waxed by them and perhaps looking past Creighton here.
Yeah, and coming off a huge effort in blowing out Providence. And Providence is an NCAA tournament team as we speak, or at least on the bubble. So it's not like they beat DePaul. They're coming off that big win. And Jesse, real good point. I mean, they're going to be out for revenge against UConn, a team that just absolutely annihilated them in stores. And that's up next for them. And watch out for Creighton. You know what? Strong home floor. They show what they're made of. They showed what they could do on their home floor against Connecticut last week. And on a nightly basis, they usually sell out that arena in Omaha, 17,000 plus. So it'll be a tough environment. But in any event, our official pick is from Mr. Higgs. He's going to take Marquette plus the 4. at Creighton. And again, Jesse likes a Baylor lay the 5 at home against Kansas. And again, folks, we are using the Ken Palm line because the official lines are yet to be released at this earlier juncture on Friday, March 1st. All right, let me get to my game, Alabama and Tennessee. Been doing real good with totals, so I might as well stick with a total for you guys in this game because
I got a FanDuel 3.5 for Creighton just came up.
Okay, so they were right
3.5,
there.
so
right, so it was 4 at Ken Palm, 3.5. So Sean likes Sean, you still like the points at 3.5?
Yeah, that tells me I think our guy's going to be playing in this game, right? Would that be a look?
I would say that's pretty accurate.
For it to come down like that. Creighton, it was 4. He had a 4, 3.5.
Yeah, we just don't know how. Is he going to be 100%? I mean, he came in the second half, Sean. He made one brief appearance. He came out after about 30 seconds. He went back on the court a few minutes later and came out after 30 seconds because he couldn't just give it a go. And Marquette really didn't miss a beat, but everything was going their way in that contest. Going on the road without him healthy is a little bit of a concern.
What, if I'm Shaka Smart, I'm not rushing him back for this game.
No, exactly.
I'm holding him out for the UConn game, if even that.
And even
they're in the tournament anyways.
They're not leapfrogging UConn for the conference.
Right.
The worst case scenario is if they lose their next game. If they lose this game and the next game, then Creighton overtakes them for the 2 seed. So there's that.
And then there's the Big East tournament, to worry about where you going to be playing in Marquette because there's such a high seed would need to win 3 games in 3 days. And that's going to do whoever wins that tournament is really going to boost themselves in terms of a seed in the NCAA tournament. Of course, UConn's going to be a number 1 seed unless they fall apart down the stretch and get eliminated in the first game of the Big East tournament. Even then, I question whether that will knock them out of a number 1 seed, but we'll see. In any event,
Baylor 3.5, by the way.
Baylor 3.5. We had them at 5. Okay, so Baylor is minus 3.5. Jesse,
get on that Baylor right now.
Get those early lines. Both of those.
Baylor right now.
I think both of those. Get on them as soon as you can.
I'm actually thinking about flipping a Creighton here right now at 3.5. 3.5 is not where I want to be on a team that's beat them 3 straight times in close games. I don't know.
Well, Sean, you gotta make up your mind for the.
I know, but Russ, I mean, the line changes a point and a half.
I get it.
In 10 minutes, people.
But just, based on that line change of a half a point, are you going?
It's one of those things. I mean, what do people want me to just give a pick out, or I mean, like, no. It's a spot where it's a half a point, but that's a different kind of half point. I'm thinking this line was going to be closer to 5 because the guy's not playing. Is he playing now? Is he definitely in? I don't know if he's definitely in because the coach said we'll see how it goes. I don't.
So if you were just to give an opinion out on this game, based on the line being 3.5, and it most likely won't be, or it may be on your premium side, what would you advise the audience right now, based on an opinion at this particular juncture in time, what are you basing your official pick to be?
How about this? I will go totally roundabout and say a Creighton team total over.
Okay.
All right. I have to be. Listen, I got to be honest with the people here. That changes my aspect of a game.
So the Creighton total.
I'll go.
I would say that it's 79, somewhere around 79, Jesse. If the total's 150 and Creighton's a 4-point favorite, somewhere around.
I don't think there'll be team totals up yet.
Yeah, well, I would say just based. I'm using simple math here.
Yeah,
Jesse does this all the time. If Creighton's a 4-point favorite and the total is 150,
77.5 is my guess. 77.5, I'm going to say.
Yep. So there you have it. All right. So Sean is switching gears there on you, and he's going to take Creighton.
I'm sorry, I got to give out my best thought on the game.
No, that's fine as long as we're clear with the audience. You know what I mean, Sean?
I understand.
I'm
But
not
when we do,
criticizing you.
lines come up as we're talking about things, it changes the way I look at
Yeah, sure.
a
And
game.
it goes back to, it's about us beating a number. We can care less what the names are and the
Yes,
pronunciations
because
are.
at one number, I think the game line's going to go up. So I'm thinking
Yeah.
I'm having a higher number, and now it's coming down. That's not what I want to be at.
Yeah. All right, let's get her going on my game. As I began to say, according to Ken Palm right now, and I don't know if Alabama line is out, Sean, if you want to check that. Ken Palm has Alabama at -1, and the total's at 169, according to Ken Palm.
Nothing yet.
Okay. I'm looking at the side end of this game, and I don't have a definitive opinion in terms of the side, just based on the fact that Alabama's unbeaten in conference play at home. They've only lost one home game all year. That was early in the season against Clemson in a non-conference matchup. And Tennessee has been very good on the road, especially of late, 5-1 straight up in their last 6 SEC home games. These teams did meet earlier this season, and Tennessee just crushed Alabama 91-71. That was a game where Alabama, and this has been their Achilles heel all year, but it was even more so in this contest where Alabama committed 22 turnovers in that game in Knoxville. And the game produced the combined 49 free throw attempts. And I wouldn't be shocked if this game matches that number of free throw attempts, if not goes beyond that, because of the physicality and the aggressive style of defense both teams like to play. Now, Alabama went just 4 for 21 from the three-point line in that first matchup, 19%. I will go out on a limb and say they will be much better than that in the game in Tuscaloosa tomorrow. Tennessee has scored 86 points or more in 6 of their last 8. Alabama has scored 95 or more in their last 5, 7 of their last 9. As a matter of fact, Alabama has scored 100 points or more 7 times this year, and that includes in 3 of their last 5 games. I can't remember a more explosive offensive team in college basketball, maybe going back to the Hank Gathers and Bo Kimball, Loyola, and Marymount teams. With the style of play that Alabama is and the point production they put up. Of course, when a team scores that many points, they play at an extremely quick tempo. And Alabama's number 1 in the SEC in offensive tempo. They're number 11 nationally in that regard. And how that's measured, folks, is how many offensive possessions you get per 40 minutes played. They're also number 1 nationally in adjusted offense of efficiency. And adjusted offense efficiency, and they average like 1.3 points per offensive possessions, which is incredible. They're not bad 3-point shooting team. Like I said, they had a bad 3-point shooting effort against Tennessee on the road, but this is still a team that's number 3 in SEC play, making 37.3% of their 3-point shots, and 48.3% of their field goal attempts comes from distance beyond the 3-point line. Here's the thing with Tennessee. They're very good defensively, but gets overlooked is they're number 18 nationally in adjusted offensive efficiency. They're number 4 in the SEC with their 3-point shooting at 35.9%. That doesn't seem like an extremely strong number, but when you consider the fact that 38.9% of their shots come from 3-point range, that 5.9 is awfully good when it adds up to the volume of threes that they shoot. And both teams are in the lower half of SEC play this year in free throw attempts allowed. Now, I mentioned the free throw attempts before, and again, this is conducive to maybe looking at between 50 and 60 free throw attempts in this contest, which is a lot of points to be scored or opportunities to be scored with the clock stopped. I am going to go over the total here, 169. I'm not going to use the phrase because the total is this high for a reason, because we beat that to death earlier this week. But I am not going to shy away from this total of 169. I would go even as high as 172 on this total. But hopefully we get somewhere in the area of 169 or less, and I'm all over this over Tennessee and Alabama over the total. Jesse, I know that you are very reluctant to go over a total this high. So take it away, my friend.
Yeah, Ross, I just don't like betting overs in games with high numbers like this, but I do like this game, and for me, it really sets up nicely for the home team. You mentioned it, undefeated at home in conference play. They must have been close to undefeated at home in conference play last year as well. We talked about teams that give you a bad taste in their mouth because of their inconsistency. Tennessee sort of fits the bill to me. And coming off that big win over Auburn, and then there was the bad blood between Barnes and Pearl. This looks like a total letdown spot for Tennessee, a revenge game for Alabama, losing to Tennessee earlier in the year. Situationally, it just all sort of sets up for take Alabama at home. So I like the Alabama -1.
Yeah, and then you get the revenge factor in there too, right? They get blown out by Tennessee on the road. Sean, your take.
Yeah, it's just you lose by 20 on the road, and now you have Tennessee again on the road. Give me Bama coming back after splitting on the road. It's a Bama play or nothing for me here. And this is an official Bama play. That's it. It's Alabama. I'm not gonna. There's no crazy line change here. Short of Alabama laying 9, I'm not going to switch out of Alabama.
All right, I am not going to shy away from the high total. I'm going to take the game over 169. That's Tennessee, Alabama. That's our official play, by the way. That game goes at 8 p.m. Eastern time on ESPN. Sean is going to take the Creighton team total over 77.5 against Marquette. That game goes at 2:30 p.m. Eastern time, also nationally televised on Fox. And Mr. Schule, the guy who's been red hot at the site, and God bless you if you want to fade Mr. Schule right now. Baylor -3.5. At home against Kansas, in that game also nationally televised 1 p.m. Eastern time on ABC. So there you have it, folks. Those are our picks for Saturday, March the 2nd. All right, let's get to the questions. Pound it. You got to lean Creighton. So
you missed a whole lot of stuff before that one.
Anyway, all right. Pound it. If you want Creighton to win, just have the Tooch bet Marquette. Marquette is 0-409 with Tooch bets. Marquette, help me out, Sean.
So you missed a bunch of comments before that. There's about 20 comments ahead of that one.
Yeah.
But
okay.
Tooch is a guy he likes to call Mr. Chalk, and just whatever Tooch goes, whoever Tooch likes, kind of likes to just go against.
All right. So there you have it. A contrarian approach from Pound It. All due respect.
There's Al.
Big Al. Good afternoon, folks. Hey, Al. What's going on, my man? Glad to always see you aboard. Al leaning towards 3 games tonight. Brown -2. Georgia Southern -3.5. Niagara -2. You're not going to get me to commit to any game in the Ivy League that doesn't involve the 3 top teams, Princeton, Yale, or Princeton, Yale. Who's the other one that I'm missing, guys? Maybe that's it.
Cornell,
right. And Cornell laying points on the road tonight. Niagara, that conference there is bedazzling to me. It's close to home where I reside. A lot of those schools are right in the vicinity in which I live, but I just never have been good in the MAAC for whatever reason. And I steer clear of those games. And in Georgia Southern, I don't have an opinion on. Guys, starting with you, Jesse.
Yeah, Al, if you watch Sean's show, he's got a great graphic for questions like this. 1-800-GAMBLER. Stop it. You might have a problem. I'm not touching these games. I'm Saturday is not that far away. I'll just wait for the big action on Saturday.
Sean?
I actually lean a little Brown. I had Ryder today in midday money. Nothing on Georgia Southern, though. Nothing on Georgia Southern. Right. And shockingly, Ross, like you can't come through with us. Like go pay off some kids up there. You should have good inside information with those kids up there.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. Easier said than done, my friend. Tooch. Good afternoon, gentlemen. I always enjoy the show. Best of luck this weekend. Best of luck to you, Tooch. And don't worry about it. What Pounded says. Keep doing your thing, my man.
Hey, Marquette's due, Tooch. Marquette's due.
Yeah. Let's go. I agree, FP coach. Melvin Batances. Hey, what's up, fellas? I usually watch the replay, but finally able to catch the show live today. LFG cashed some tickets. I'm not LFG guys.
Let's effing go. It's a curse
All
word.
right.
Let's go.
Okay. All right. So there you have it. Toots Baylor national champions future 40-1 worth a look. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that this is a team, to me, I look at Connecticut where they were last year at this time. Let's not forget Connecticut was a number 4 seed in the NCAA tournament last year. And I see a lot of comparative things that I saw with Connecticut that I'm seeing with Baylor right now. But guys, at 40-1, I would think that they're certainly worth a look. I agree, Tooch.
Yep. Definitely worth it. I like it.
Yeah, well, interesting you compare to Connecticut, because if you look at Connecticut's schedule last year, they were riding high in non-conference play. As soon as the Big East started, man, they lost like 8 or 9 or 10 games or something. They went through a stretch where they were just brutal. And then they heated up at the end, and they did what they needed to do, and they really came together at the perfect time. But they weren't exactly burning houses down from start to finish in the regular season last year.
Here's our man Ninja. Purdue versus Michigan State. Any thought on what the line's going to be? I'll have
10.
to look that up for you. And then Ninja has got off to Purdue.
Kansas.
Kansas
I mean, if Kansas was in the Big Ten, they'd be Purdue, right?
Yeah. So I'll look that up for you, Ninja. Stay tuned when
they'll be double-digit favorites over. Come on.
Yeah.
They're at home. They'll be at least 10, 12-point favorites.
Let me just take a second to look that up for Ninja, because he's been such a good compadre. We're talking about Kansas, right?
Purdue, Michigan State line.
Purdue, Michigan State. All right. So here we go. I was going to say we already gave out the Kansas line. Purdue, Michigan State.
It's going to be 10.
Bear with me just 1 second here, folks. Purdue, Michigan State. Purdue, Michigan State. Where are you? Purdue, Michigan State. Boy, oh boy, it's down the line. Purdue, according to KenPom right now, Purdue is a 10-point favorite, and the total is 146. Again, that's the KenPom line, Ninja. So keep that in mind. It's not the official line as of yet. Lost. All right. So he's saying lost to BYU at home when BYU isn't that good on the road. Yeah, I mean, I wish it was that simple when we could just do the AB versus BC versus AC comparisons. Hey, Mo, what's going on, my man?
Baylor not making out of first round.
Wow. Okay. That's going out on a limb. It's okay. I mean, I'm not going to criticize them. We've seen stranger things happen in the first round in the NCAA.
I mean, they're at this rate, they're going to be a 3 seed.
Yeah. Well, we've seen 2 number 1 seeds go down in recent years, which we never saw before. So depending on the matchup, hey, if they're a number 3 or number 4 and they catch a real good mid-major, which they probably will, because a mid-major that's slotted in a 13 especially is going to be a pretty good mid-major for the most part. But that's a little, it's a little bit of a stretch, but I certainly am not going to criticize it. Kansas plus the points with.
But they'll be getting a 14 seed though, won't they? Be getting a 14. They're going to get somebody at.
If they go to a 4, they're going to be playing a 13. Right. Yeah, 14 seed puts a whole new light on it. Correct, Sean. Kansas plus the points with a sprinkle on the money line for me. Well, you already heard our opinions on that game, so you're on your own, my friend. Pounded Sports, AA Mac, my favorite. Quinny is just like Kansas. Yeah, I mean, I think you agreed with us a couple weeks ago when we discussed Quinnipiac Pounded, and I think we jinxed them, because they're 0-4 straight up in ATS since, and now they're what are they, a 2.5-point dog tonight at Iona? In Iona, you look at the record, it's not like they're wowing anybody.
I like Quinnipiac to bounce back tonight.
Yeah. Georgia -3 is my top bet tonight. Georgia State, I'm sorry. Any comments, guys? I don't have any comment on that.
Yeah, against Marshall, I got nothing on this game.
All right, let me get to Troy -4. I could tell you right now, football coach or FB coach, that I was very close to using Texas State in this game. So I am going to say that if I would use Texas State or not use anything. So I'm not a fan of Troy -4 on the road tonight. Texas State, by the way, 5-0 straight up in their last 5 at home. And I mean, you look at this disparity in the records of these two teams overall and in conference. Troy is unequivocally the more impressive resume. Yet this is just 4, and that's, I think, the reason why is Texas State all of a sudden has caught fire at home. But I just couldn't pull the trigger on them for whatever reason, and I certainly don't like Troy in this matchup. Guys, any thoughts?
I agree with you. Like, they've won at home, but you look at the overall, you're like, oh boy,
Yeah.
like, is it worth it at a 4.5? Because that's, if it was a 2.5 or 3, you'd think, all right, it's too short. I'll take the home team. At least that's the way I'd be looking at it.
And if I saw any kind of inconsistencies in the way Troy has played at late, and that's the thing we look at too, is you could look at a team's overall record, right? Quinnipiac's a perfect example. What were they, 19-3 when we discussed them 2 weeks ago? Now they're 19-7. So you look at 19-7 from a team from the MAAC, and you say, man, that's a great record. Well, they've lost their last 4. Troy isn't in that category. Troy's been playing really, really good down the stretch. So that's what I believe what kept me away from that game. What does that mean, Sean? Help me out.
That's the guy for Marquette, Kolek.
All right.
Tyler Kolek.
Yeah,
he corrected it in the next one.
Tyler Kiley, though.
Yeah, but the next one's Kolek.
Kolek. Okay, there you go. All right, Marquette is my alma mater. All right, brother. So I guess Poundit's going to go the other way according to what you guys, your dynamic you have between you. Leonard Dodd, there's a new guy. Good afternoon, you guys. Good afternoon,
Hello,
Leonard. Thank you for joining us, my man. Here's another guy, Rogue Energy.
I'm sorry, Rogue. It's just, we do it. The lines move. You're going to get my opinion on the game. I'm not, I'm not telling you to bet the life savings on these things. We're doing it live. The thing, it changes in front of me. It changes my thought process.
Yeah. Sean's starting to remind me of a guy that we discussed yesterday, Jesse, that gives you vague responses and leaves himself openings so he can make the excuse in case anything doesn't go his way. I'm only kidding, Sean.
There we go.
You got to lean. We already got to that one. That was the one. If you want Creighton to win, we got to that one already. That was one I touched upon earlier. Yep, I'm not allowed to bet on Marquette games. Okay, well, why is that? Because you're in the state of Wisconsin.
He's a mush. He's the mush man.
He's in the state of Wisconsin. They don't allow him to bet games.
We should send him $20 and get him to mush them tomorrow because I'm seriously considering Creighton myself.
Banned for life.
Come on.
Keith,
I'm sorry, Keith. Oh, my God. I'm getting all the hate mail today.
Yeah, Keith, how are you, my man? Appreciate you joining us today. Sean, ? Sorry. Ross, would you mind going into your method model for handicapping your CBB OU to over and under totals without giving away all your secrets, obviously? The model that I use the most is I take every day as its own separate entity. Sean had mentioned the other day he's done well with college basketball totals, and the majority of those winners were unders. My last 6 winners, which I've gone 6-0 with my last 6, have all been overs. But that doesn't mean that I bet all overs. And I also look at how the games are being refereed in a particular moment in time or a particular year. Also, a lot of things that I look at, you can't get too caught up with teams' overall numbers, meaning how many points they score per game. You have to look. I look more toward the conference play at this time, what they do in conference play. I do weigh it more heavily, the overall numbers, if it's a team that played a strong non-conference schedule. That's another thing. But as we know, a lot of these power conference teams, even teams from the A10 or other conferences, there's a lot of teams that play very, very soft schedules in the in the non-conference portion. Okay, Jesse, go ahead before
I just want to point out that in last year's tournament, I did mention this already in the first round.
Yep.
The unders went 33-11. I had a discussion with Ross after that, and he said, "Watch this. They're going to make over adjustments, over corrections.
Yep.
You're going to see some regression to the mean, and overs are going to start to hit." And I believe, Ross, you did very well in the second round and throughout the rest of the tournament, betting a lot of overs. Is that correct?
Yeah, I did very well in the tournament, and my college basketball totals since last year have just been doing very well. So, and I don't want to sound like a tout, but it's a tough question for me to answer because, like all three of us have told you on numerous occasions, once you marry yourself to just one facet of how you look at a game, that's where you start to fail. And I look at several different facets, and like Jesse said, for example, here's my notes on the game I gave you today, the Tennessee-Alabama game. And you could see there's a lot of evidence here that added up to taking that over. And, I like to look at KenPom. If you're a totals player and you don't have a subscription with KenPom for $19 a year, then you're behind the eight ball, because
if you don't have $20 a year to subscribe to KenPom, you shouldn't be betting.
Yeah, because why I say that is I like to look at the tempo that teams play at as well. And if you get two teams that are playing at a very high tempo, and they measure that, like I said earlier, by how many offensive possessions you get per 40 minutes. So Alabama, for example, number one in the country, they're like somewhere around 74 offensive possessions for 40 minutes. That's the reason why that total is so high. But again, great question. It's just that I can't really specify any one thing that you should look at every time. And again, like you said, a good chef doesn't give away all their recipes, right? So,
show me your lucky buffalo-headed nickel that you flip when it comes down. Worst case scenario.
There you go, Buffalo Saber nickel. Anyway, all right. What all included in the all access? Well, in the all access, for example, Sheffer, and thank you, my man, for joining us today. Sheffer the Tanker, love it. What's included in the all access will be, for example, if you were to buy Sean's 30-day package for $3.99, you would get any pick that he's put out for the next 30 days in all sports. Anything he puts out at gamblersworld.net, you would receive. At the end of 30 days, if you do not make a profit, then we will credit you back the exact amount that you spent on that specific purchase. In terms of the NCAA package that's up right now, the March Madness package for $249, you're going to get all the rest of the regular season in the NCAA college basketball, all the conference tournaments, all the NCAA tournament games, the NIT, and the CBI, right through all three of those postseason tournament championship games. So you're going to get quite a bit for that amount of money, Sheffer. And again, that goes for all three of us, Jesse, Sean, and myself. Okay, Ken, where are we here? Ken, great show. Thoughts on Cavs versus Pistons? I'm just not willing to lay that big a number on the road in the NBA. And the Pistons are one of those teams that once in a while they'll surprise you with a good effort. Cavs are unequivocally a better team, but laying 9.5, I think it is right now, guys. It's not something I'm willing to entertain as a road favorite.
I lean under.
Yeah. Looks like Clarence Davis has already got that covered, and he's telling Ken to take the under. And I agree that's the direction I'd go too. But I think the line opened at a higher number, and you've already lost some value there. And you know how I feel about losing value.
Yeah, no doubt about it. So there you have it. Those two guys certainly have a stronger
223
opinion.
opener. 223 opener.
Ken under 221.5. It's opened at 223. So there you have it. It's okay, Ross, to brag it up. Keep crushing those totals. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, there's a fine line between bragging and arrogance and then confidence. When we're in a business, guys, if we don't brag about what we're doing a disservice to ourselves because we put a lot of hard work in. And when you have a streak like I have in college basketball totals, or like even Jesse's had over the last 60 days or since 2024 began, you need to let people know about it. Because look, these free picks are great, but they're not our best picks. Okay. And that we do a lot of stuff with premium paid picks. That's how we make our money. So it's marketing or business 101. It's not touting. Okay. Touts are guys that start bragging about a record and they have no verifiable source that you could check and say that's accurate. I don't want to pick on certain individuals. We know one ourselves that we've done stuff with in the past that comes up with outrageous claims on something that's impossible to track. So you have to be real careful with that. But if we don't brag and we don't tell you how well we're doing, why would you buy from us? Go ahead, Jesse.
Yeah, I mean, about the bragging, and some people are bragging because they want to generate sales. Myself, I find that when I'm speaking in a manner that you might be perceived as bragging, you got to remember we're constantly under attack too. Everybody's trying to tear us down on the internet, telling us we don't know what we're doing. You got this wrong. You do. I get an inbox full of my Facebook page, my Twitter page, people telling me I don't know what I'm doing. I feel the need to remind them that, if you go to any of the websites I'm on, including gamblersworld.net, you look at the leaderboards, clearly you can see that I know what I'm doing. So you can stop telling me that I don't know what I'm doing. That's really when I start throwing numbers out there, talking about my record, it's more or less just defending myself against trolls and letting people know that's why I'm here talking about these games, is because I do know what I'm doing.
Yeah. And bottom line is if you really wanted to question us on it, we not only can send you the results from one website, we could give you the results on several. And there might be a little bit of a difference from one site to another because one site had a line a half a point better for us than against us. But for the most part, it's, the old neighborhood play, right? When guys used to turn to double play in Major League Baseball before they started getting stringent with it. We're right in the vicinity on all of the sites we post on in terms of what the record is. We've only been doing it on this site, which is gamblersworld.net, since last July is when we started the site. So we go a lot of long-term records, and I think all three of us would agree that who does probably the best job in terms of documenting our records in accuracy and where we could draw from and pull the information out to give to you is sports capping. Yeah. So again, that's where Jesse has his site, his personal site, jesseschule.com. Sean is on that site as well. But that's the reason why you'll see sometimes us claiming we're have this elongated record, and people are not being able to see that exactly at our site is because we've only been alive since July. Okay. Anything else you guys want to add in that regard?
I mean, collectively, we've been on sites basically together since probably going back to like 2005, I guess. That's, I started getting on sites back then. So people be like, they wouldn't keep you if you didn't generate revenue for their sites. Forget about wins. If you weren't winning enough to get paid, because the sites you really have to win to get paid on a lot of these sites, like you wouldn't be around this long. So, we win, we lose. All right, you're going to come in and throw stones at us. That's fine. Because we're still here after 15, 16 years. We're not deleting Twitter accounts and TikToks and starting over a new name and all this other nonsense.
Names and dyeing our hair.
Really, how many people you see on Twitter coming hey, look at this. Someone's have a hot streak. Come buy me. It's $25 a month. I'll give you, and they're gone. And all these wacky kind of sites you can post on. That's fine. That's fine for the average person. Good luck. Everybody thinks they could do it because they have a nice week. All right.
I don't know, Jesse. According to some of the comments online, I had gray hair 20 years ago, and now it's brown. So
gray hair is creeping up on me, but I just keep on cutting it off. And
I got it around the edges, man. I got it around the edges, but this whole thing about age, in this industry is getting a little old, with no pun intended, guys, for some of these comments that we get in that regard, or I get specifically. And the bottom line is, you have to ask yourself, okay, Ross is 66 years old. He just won the football wise guy championship at Playbook. Is that bragging? No, it's a fact. Okay. There was 47 other handicappers in that tournament. I don't think I'm anywhere close to having Alzheimer's at this point. And
I mean, if you look around the industry,
sometimers.
it's hard to find guys under
sometimes.
45 that are doing much.
Yeah.
And then if you like, and I don't want to talk bad about any other colleagues or anything, but if you want to look at the who are the guys that win consistently every year, obviously the three of us, we think highly of each other, but if you started throwing out other names of guys who you respect in the industry, chances are they're our age or they're in our age group. There's not a lot of 25, 30-year-old kids that are doing well consistently. And if they do, they have one good year, they usually flop the next year because things change and they haven't put in enough time
because they've been betting for 2 or 3 years
to keep that consistency, right? So I think it takes decades of experience to draw on to be a good handicapper, a great handicapper.
Yeah, well, think about the word experience, okay? How do you get experience? How do you have a lot of experience in any facet of work that you do? You have a lot of experience in any work that you do. You don't get a lot of experience by failing. You don't get a lot of experience by consistently not being successful or being ho-hum. Okay, you gain experience because you've been doing something a long time. You getting paid to do it, and you're doing it well. Now, I'm not going to criticize any of the youngsters out there, but that's where most of these comments come from, is young people with these, short of acting like a texting punk. And I'm sorry, that's just what it is to me. Okay, stuff that you could say that you would say it to my face, and you say it in a text again. It's bottom line is come on, guys. Let's talk about sports betting. And when it comes to age, you don't last in this business, like Jesse said, this long, or Sean said, this long, without a high degree of success along the way. And nobody wins every day. And sometimes nobody wins every year. So there you have it. One more question here, and then we got to wrap it up. What do you think about Mount St. Mary's? That's the MWA.
AA Mac. I like Mount St. Mary's.
Yeah.
Sheffer. I like him today.
Yeah, there you go. Sheffer, thanks for joining in today, buddy. And we hope that you, because us three are helping you out here, I hope that you purchase from one of us three in terms of what I just described to you. But if you have any further questions, Sheffer, just hit us up on our customer support line at gamblersworld.net. And we'll be sure to clarify any questions you may have. All right, guys. So the subscribe button, there's a black subscribe button right underneath you. And if you have not subscribed already, click on that. It's absolutely free to do so. There's no hidden agenda, no strings attached. And if you're on your PC, you'll see a WC logo right in the bottom right-hand corner of the page. That will serve the same purpose. Clicking on that will get you subscribed. We appreciate all of you out there. 12,500 subscribers right now. That's absolutely, I would have never fathomed that 3 years ago when we started this channel. Getting a lot of views on these college basketball. Your support is well appreciated by all of us. But if you have not gone into your YouTube settings and you're a subscriber, you should go in there and click on that alert notification bell for the Winner Circle Sports Betting channel, and you'll be notified immediately upon any of our podcasts 5 times a week being published on our channel, including this live show. And also a like button. And Jesse, we usually ask Jesse what to do with that like button underneath, but I'm going to let Sean take it away on this because Jesse's voice.
Smash!
That like
hands it off to do that one.
Smash that like button, right? Or touch it or tap it. It's just a small token of your appreciation for the time, work, and effort we put into bringing you a quality podcast each and every day, folks. And our theme has always been continues to be and will be going forward is we want to make you a smarter sports better today than you were yesterday. Don't forget gamblersworld.net, $249 for our March Madness special. It'll take you right through the regular season, right through the conference tournaments, right through the NCAA tournaments, CBI and NIT, all for just $249 from any handicapper. And don't forget, we guarantee all our single game, multi-game, daily packages and all subscription plans of 30 days or fewer. If you don't win, you don't make a profit, we will credit back your account the exact amount of your purchase price. I will be back on Monday. Jesse and Sean will be back with me on Tuesday. Guys, thank you again. You do a terrific job on the show, and I could not do this without you two guys. And you've been an integral part to our success here on this channel. For Jesse, Schule, Sean Higgs, and Ross Benjamin, take care and God bless, folks.